All right, everyone, it's your boy, Ernest Dove, New York Mets Dove Report. On this segment, let's talk Pete Alonso, because, I don't know, it's already in the Mets offseason. We don't have anything else to talk about. So might as well talk about the early opt-out, already discussing deals, how many years, another 9-figure possible option. All about Boris, I'm sure, so we're not really worried about that. But I want to get into, on this segment, are there any actual replacement options for the New York Mets to actually take over for Pete Alonso at first base anywhere in the organization, on the active roster, or in the farm system? Again, Mets have now a top 5 farm system as a consensus at this point. So, but is there someone who could actually hold the mantle at any time, even in 2026 or in the near future? I'm going to have you covered. I want to talk some names, maybe even have some hot takes anyway about who should be out of the organization if they don't even get a spot like this. And then again, for the farm system. Let me get it going right now. You know, guys, I always jump right into it. On the Major League roster, there's really only been 2 options during the 2025 season to take over Pete Alonso randomly for innings, not even actual games, at first base. One of them would be the very versatile Jeff McNeil, who's become, I guess, very polarizing in the last few years. Even myself, I'm a big Jeff McNeil fan. I interviewed Jeff McNeil way back in the day when he was in the low minors, getting into Double-A. He was talking about his versatility, talking about putting on the 25 pounds, and was kind of funny, not funny, even those years ago, along with adding the 20 pounds of muscle, he talked about generating more power to his game, which was his plan going forward from Double-A. It's kind of coming to fruition, but here we are in 2025. What was sacrificed in order for him to work towards generating more power? Which, by the way, the home run numbers weren't very powerful to begin with, but the batting average dropped. Although the walk to K ratio was the best of his major league career to this point. So it looks like he was being more less aggressive, actually, than ever this season, which was paying off on certain levels with the walks, but nothing else was really working out for Jeff McNeil. Do you want to give it because he's already under contract? If you don't trade Jeff McNeil, do you have him randomly be the first baseman, even temporarily? That would be pretty crazy of an idea, but technically he's played the position for the Mets. If he continues to hit, and maybe the hit tool can go back up with a new hitting coach, maybe they have different plans for Jeff McNeil, but for now, I don't know if that's the best option. The other option, obviously, the other polarizing figure behind the polar bear in the Mets organization, what to do with Mark Vientos. I know a lot of people, again, I've been saying this since the low minors, since low A. I've already long since known about Mark Vientos defensively with a glove in the infield. So can he possibly be the replacement at first base, short-term, long-term? What do we do with him? He's only going to be turning 26 years old for all of 2026 season. So he turns 26 in the offseason. It's what he's going to be. He's still very young. Which Mark Vientos are we going to get? Do we get the magical 2024 playoff Mark Vientos? Do we get the throughout the early season 2025 Mark Vientos who struggled? Or randomly again last season in July, he hit 275 in the month without power. So he had low numbers, low slugging, low OPS, but he hit 275 in July. Then August, did we get maybe the temporarily real Mark Vientos in August of this past season, where he slashed 278, 330, 658 slugging, and a 988 OPS during the month of August? Is that the kind of guy we can get? Because if you get a guy like this more consistently, you probably risk putting him at first base, giving him the shot, still being only 26 years old. He can go from first base to DH, obviously, and you keep him in the organization because he's still under control for multiple years at this point. That could be a good option. Will they do it? I don't know. I know fans want him already to be the permanent DH. Again, to be this young, this controllable, do you have a guy like this be a full-time DH, taking that spot, quote-unquote, for way too many years, when you have guys, even including Nimmo, Soto, these certain guys, when they get older, they're going to have to probably move to DH anyway. So can you even risk that, even short-term but more long-term anyway? That's going to be interesting. Now, on the minor league side, again, things aren't going amazing. For even the top 5 farm system, we already know the top dog. We have Ryan Clifford, the big red dog. Can he hold down the spot? I know there's fans that are ready. Let him take over. He's ready to rock. I mean, he did hit 29 home runs this past season in 481 at-bats. That's a really good home run to at-bat little ratio right there, along with 93 RBIs. So he had like a version of a full legit season, what you would want from a big bopper during the 2025 minor league season. He also had 23 doubles to go with 29 RBIs. So again, okay, he's got the 50-ish extra base hits. He had a 356 on base percentage for the season. But what else? What are we going to do? He does walk. He does strike out. Now, technically, during 2025 season, he lowered his K rate a bit. In 2024 in the minor leagues, as a 21-year-old, he was hovering around 30% K rate. This past season in 2025, lowered it to about 26%. Again, this isn't an exciting number. A lot of fans, anything over 25, you're not really too happy about. My concern is he's a guy who's hovering in the 240 range, average-wise, hitting in the minor leagues. And I said about even online, social media, you have a guy like Ronnie Mauricio, who when he finally got healthy off of his leg injury, he was hitting almost 500 in AAA before he got called up. That's not a true barometer of sorts, but when you have a guy playing an entire minor league season hovering in the 230, 240 batting average range, how is that really going to translate to the major league level? Even if you want to project and mirror the power showing itself from the minors to major leagues, that could be rough. But that's the main option, folks. I can get into a couple of other names. I want to start off with one of the guys I liked about him. Truly sleeper guy, more of a bat-to-ball first baseman who can technically also play corner outfield. JT Schwartz, if you remember that name. He was, again, bat-to-ball, kind of a good batting average kind of guy through the lower minors. This season, even I was reporting in camp, he was slowed to the season. He even broke camp on the IL, the minor league IL. And it looks like things just never went right for him the entire season. I don't want to just blame it on whatever was going on, but again, this is a guy with a good history in pro ball of hitting, a bat to ball, not a lot of home runs, but he makes contact. He didn't really hit all year. Maybe the true version of a JT Schwartz started to happen in August. All April, when I showed up in May, June, July, he was not himself. In August, he had a 382 on-base percentage, 12 walks to 10 Ks. This is more of the version that I would think JT Schwartz really is when healthy, especially as a minor league bat. Then in September, hit 286 with a 435 on-base percentage, 835 OPS. Is that the kind of JT Schwartz? Probably. When he's healthy, that's what he really looks like more in the minor leagues. But we're talking about a guy, I don't even know if he can project to hit 10 to 15 homers in the major leagues. So as a first baseman, what would he have to do? He would have to be an elite, above average defensive first. He would have to be basically competing for the gold glove to have those kind of numbers if his batting average was high enough without the power. But so that's kind of the options that they have as an older guy, which again, he's 25, so he's still technically young. That's not an issue age-wise. Player development-wise, he may have basically lost the season starting slow. Otherwise, there's nothing else to do but go to the younger guys. We can create a guy like these are two 21-year-olds. You have Ronald Hernandez. He's from the David Robertson trade a couple of years ago. He's still only 21 years old. He had a rough season. He was ranked, he's been ranked in the Mets farm system as a consensus, but he had one of the roughest seasons that I can think of for a guy who felt like you were going to get more from him during the year. So maybe it wasn't even until August that we saw what Ronald Hernandez might be. In August, he slashed 261, 373 on-base percentage with only a 750 OPS. That's because of 11 walks to 13 Ks. Again, at his best, even in the low minors, that's what we saw from Ronald Hernandez. A good plate discipline guy. Even in the low minors, he actually had more walks than Ks in a season in the lower minors. He's going to have to do this now with AA, AAA. Is he ever going to show the power as well? Again, like a JT Schwartz, Ronald Hernandez is an OBP guy, but he's not been a power guy. Can he generate enough power to show himself? And again, this is a guy who's also been a catcher. He still catches throughout the year. Would he have to transition to first base as an option in the Mets organization? That could be the only way he could even stay in the Mets organization if you do that. The other guy would be a complete wild card. Maybe you love him so much, you let him come up all the way to the team, give him an option as a first baseman. I'm talking about Chris Suero. He's all over the place right now, even in the Arizona Fall League hitting a home run. He hit, for the season, he hit 16 home runs in 378 at-bats. That translates really well, especially for a 21-year-old. And by the way, he played a lot of that season in Brooklyn. To have any kind of home runs with those kind of winds swirling in the pitchers league itself, there's a lot of excitement now building about Chris Suero. So much so that people are already asking, Dove, can he be a major league catcher? I believe he's still in the player development phase of being a full-time catcher. I understand he's not throwing out a lot of base runners, but for better or worse, there's not many catchers throughout the league either way throwing out a lot of guys. So, but again, he's only 21 years old. Maybe he can improve on that. Talking to the pitching coaches last year, they loved the progress of Chris Suero behind the plate. They felt he was getting better week to week, not even month to month. So he was still a work in progress. Does that mean he's going to be good enough all the way up to level catching major league pitchers? It could be an option. I believe he still has a shot. Again, he's only 21 years old. As a catcher, that's very young. I think he's got a shot. He's a New York guy. He would be fantastic. Again, talking to pitching coaches, even talking to the pitching teammates, they said he's a bulldog, he's a horse. He lives and dies for his pitchers and his teammates throughout the games. He shows leadership qualities. Could he be a magical, even, could they move him to first base full time as an option? Maybe. But are any of these guys replacements for Pete Alonso? Absolutely not. But again, these are the options. Will any of them pass? Do you go with any of these guys at their cheap, low minimum wage contracts and then put all the money into pitching? Maybe that's an option. Or you pay Pete Alonso. We don't got to worry about any of this. But those are the guys. Those are the options. Those are my opinions. Please continue to support the channel. I got some interviews coming up. I have not one, not two. I'm still up to 3 minor league players that are down to be interviewed, including guys who are currently participating in the Arizona Fall League. So I figure why not wait until the Arizona Fall League season is over, and then I will interview them, talk about their experience. Please continue to support the channel. I'll see you guys next time.